4th, 2025. And let's begin with a roll call.
So sorry about that. All right, Chair Grumbine is absent, and Vice Chair Uli is also absent. So Commissioner Butler.
Here.
Commissioner Dordan.
Here.
Commissioner Drury is absent. Commissioner Ensberg.
Present.
Commissioner Lenvik.
Present.
And Commissioner McClure.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. Now let's go to first item of business, public comment. Any member of the public may address the commission for up to 2 minutes on any subject within its jurisdiction not scheduled on this agenda for public discussion. Do we have any public comment?
Thank you, Commissioner Dordan. Turning to virtual, if there's anyone joining virtually who'd like to participate or in public comment, that's general business public comment on items not on today's agenda, please go ahead and raise your hand. Not seeing any raised hands. And turning to the room, if there's anyone in the room who'd like to speak on general business, please stand up and approach the podium. Not seeing any movement, and we did not receive any written correspondence, so I'll turn it back to you, Commissioner Dordan. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to item B, approval of the minutes of the Historic Landmarks Commission meeting of May 21, 2025.
I'd move approval of the minutes.
Second.
Commissioner Lenvik made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Butler. Any discussion?
I know I had a comment on one of these, but I can't remember which one. Was this the one where we talked about the historic structure on Figueroa? Okay, can we go to that? Okay. Well, first, the easy is, I think Grumbine and McClure were absent. So that's why they didn't vote. And then I would like to, if agreed, to add that on the number 2 or number 1, that the House does not believe that the House retains enough of its original design, features and materials to convey its national folk style architecture, and particularly with respect to the large addition on the east side, which we did talk about and which I felt was had a significant impact to the elevation from the street.
We will confirm in the recording that that was stated during the motion making, but I've captured your additional comments.
If agreeable, I'd like to add that. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Any other comments, revisions, suggestions? Okay. I want to thank Commissioner Drury, just joined the meeting. So we have a motion and a second.
We did.
Shall we go to a vote? Roll call, please.
Thank you, Commissioner Dordan. I'll take the roll call, or the vote. Commissioner Dordan.
Yes.
Commissioner Drury.
Abstain.
Thank you. Commissioner Ensberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Butler.
Yes.
Commissioner Lenvik.
Yes.
And Commissioner McClure.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Now let's move on to item C, ratification of action taken on the consent calendar of June the 4th, 2025.
So moved.
I'll second that.
So, moved by Butler, seconded by Lenvik. Any comments?
Thank you, Chair Dordan. Item A was 2134 Mission Ridge Road, which received project design approval and final approval with the comment that the Commission appreciates the project and the applicant's work, and the condition that the windows be wood, not aluminum, and then the appropriate findings. Item B was 536 Brinkerhoff Ave, which received project design approval and final approval with the condition that the applicant install low plantings along the proposed fence, with the appropriate findings. And then item C was 2559 Puesta del Sol, which received project design, and the Commission voted to accept the historic structures sites letter report as submitted, and then made the motion for project design approval and final approval with the appropriate findings.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Thank you. Commissioner Drury.
Yes.
Commissioner Ensberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundvik,
Yes.
Commissioner McClure,
Yes.
and Commissioner Dorden.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to announcements, requests by applicants for continuances and withdrawals, future agenda items, and appeals. Any, for staff, any announcements?
One brief announcement from me, and then I'll turn it over to Ms. Hernandez. Item 2, the sandstone hitching posts structure of merit designation has been postponed to a date certain of July 16th, 2025. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Hernandez.
One of our historic landmarks that's owned by the Santa Barbara Trust, the Roisin Adobe, this Saturday is having an open house to show the excavation, the archaeological excavation, because they're doing a porch restoration. It's all matching existing, so it didn't need to come to the commission, but because it's a landmark, I thought I'd let you know, and you might be interested in going, because it'll be open from 11 to 2, and it might be really neat. It's really neat. It's open now. You can see the adobe underneath the porch. So it might be fun for you to see archaeology and historic preservation together at
In
once.
action.
And we have another announcement. We just wanted to announce at the commission, it is with my saddest heart to announce that Henry Lenny passed away on Memorial Day, and he did draw the cover of our EPV guidelines, and I'm just looking up, but we will probably have a resolution coming to the commission, but I didn't know if you all knew. It's been pretty quiet, but that he was very involved in our commission, very loved in our community.
It's a very sad piece of news.
I know.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to subcommittee reports. Do we
Yes,
have any?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I apologize for being late, and I have to leave by 4:30.
Okay, so noted. Any subcommittee reports?
Yes, Chair Dorden. I have several things to share with the commission. First of all, just an update about the State Street 1200 block pilot program, which is, as you all recall, to increase the usable brick sidewalk area by removal of low planted areas and infilling with brick. The plantings have been removed, and currently the city's getting ready to do some adjustment and repair of some of the electrical boxes along there. So that's going to be starting, I believe, on June 16th, and then right after that, the brick installation will follow, and with some flowering plants added at the base of the trees for color. And Commissioner McClure provided some suggestions, and the block is being divided into 4 quadrants so that, each can be sort of a study of a different idea. So we're looking for 4 different color palettes, so that will be coming along soon. We're very excited about that. Also, to report about the West Figueroa Paseo that I mentioned at the last meeting. There was a meeting last Wednesday on May 28th, and it was held at the Paseo so that we could see the Paseo and discuss the overall condition and come up with some short and long-term solutions. And I see that our liaison, Councilwoman Sneddon is here with us today, so happy to have her. In attendance at that meeting was Mayor Rouse and City Administrator McAdoo, Acting Public Works Director Brian Damore, State Street Master Planner Tess Harris, and Downtown Team Manager Sarah Clark, and myself. Councilwoman Sneddon and other HLC work group members, Anthony and Charles McClure, Anthony Grumbine and Charles McClure, were unable to attend, but the meeting was very good and generated possible solution ideas, and homework was given and to be reported and further developed at the next meeting, which is scheduled for July 2nd. So I could go into more detail, but that's basically, it's moving along well, and I feel very encouraged about it. And then finally, the historic Anapamu Stone Pines Alley restoration and tree replacement. On Friday, May 9th, a meeting with city arborist Nathan Slack was held at the home of Sherry Ray for the purpose of working with the community regarding the historic, Anapamu stone pines restoration and tree replacement. Nathan Slack, the city arborist, was there, and then community members Sherry Ray, Emma Brinkman, and Rick Clausen, and myself. Nathan gave an update of the work in progress and, by City Parks and Recreation for discussion and input, and he reported that the new young trees have been purchased, and they're sitting in a nursery until they will be planted, probably the end of this year. And the work is underway to kind of finalize the replacement plan and to prep and planting details and the maintenance plan, as well as how they will be coordinating with HLC and the city historian moving forward. So we really appreciated that. And in general, there was sort of general discussion, appreciation for the collaboration, and would like to see the plans for the existing and the proposed, and also suggested informative signage and community education opportunities, issues about the hitching posts, and possible salvage of some of the wood for benches to offer to community artists. So that was the discussion, and it was all very good, and I just wanted to share all that with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And pardon my interruption, if we have no more subcommittee reports, if we could take a brief recess. We're having some Zoom participation, some technical difficulties. So if the chair would call for a recess, that would be
Chair calls for a recess. Thank you.
Thank you.
so much.
Reconvening the Historic Landmarks Commission meeting of June the 4th, 2025. We finished the subcommittee reports. We're up to item 1 on the agenda, 20 East Los Olivos Structure of Merit Designation. Request to adopt Resolution 2025-7 designating the Spanish Colonial Revival style residence constructed in 1924 a historic structure of merit. Turn it over to Nicole Hernandez.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. This building at 20 East Los Olivos sits on Los Olivos just between State and Anacapa Street, as you can see here on the map. Here's the aerial view, recent aerial view with showing the footprint that matches the footprint on the 1931 Sanborn map, where you can see not only the footprint and that it was a 2-story building, but also that it was one of the first buildings built on this side of the block at the time on this area of the Upper East Side. Again, it was constructed in 1924, which was on the building permit. The first residents were listed at the address in 1926 city directories as Miss Elizabeth Kempfer and M.B. Phelps in the Spanish Colonial Revival style. And for some environmental setting, the Upper East neighborhood is a residential district characterized by, oh, that kind of skipped one. I wanted to stay there, sorry. Large prestigious homes, residential development along this block was characterized by substantial single-family houses that on large lots, and the street is characterized by sidewalks separated by a large tree strip between the sidewalk and street, and large street trees and landscaped front yards. The Upper East Side the Upper East Side was mostly agricultural until the early part of the 20th century, mostly post-World War I. The area between Constance and Mission Street began to develop as a residential neighborhood, much due to the city having a streetcar system. By 1913, streetcar lines linked both Oak Park and the Upper East to downtown Santa Barbara. One of the lines stopped at State and Islay Street. The presence of convenient transportation to downtown and the growing popularity of the automobile made these outlying neighborhoods increasingly more attractive to the city's residents. It was close enough to downtown for working and shopping and social activities, but far removed from the less desirable sections of downtown, like stables, rail yards, saloons, and they also appeal to the prosperous working and middle classes of Santa Barbara. The first residence that I know of was built in 1914 at 211 State Street in the Craftsman style. Most of the Upper East were built in typical early 20th century styles, including Craftsman, Spanish Colonial Revival, American Colonial, and Tudor Revivals. As we all know, in Santa Barbara, the Spanish Colonial Revival style is one of our dominant residential designs of the period, largely inspired by architecture in Spain and its colonies, and was popular here because of our lovely Plans and Planting Committee that was led by Bernard Hoffman and Pearl Chase and others to sway Santa Barbara towards a more unified architectural style based on the city's Spanish and Mexican past. And as an original piece from that period with original features, this is important to our architectural repertoire. And the building does have the following character-defining features of the Spanish Colonial Revival style, one of which is being the interplay of the cubic volumes. You see the patio is recessed in between the two projecting wings, as well as there's intersecting hipped and gabled roofs covered in terracotta tiles. It has the smooth whitewashed plain or stucco walls with an emphasis on broad uninterrupted wall surfaces and the punctuation of careful use of openings recessed in the stucco. It has the large tower-like stucco chimney on the end, and it has the front door, which features divided light a wood divided light window flanked by these beautiful side lights with horizontally divided lights. and doors on each side of the wing going into that open patio. It also has original windows that include leaded glass in the upper sashes and OG lugs in the upper sashes as well. And you can see another leaded glass transom, and here you can see the OG lugs in the upper sashes on the second floor. The building also retains historic integrity. There's been very few exterior alterations on the front and side elevations. There was a front stucco retaining wall added in 1993, and in 2017, there were minor alterations on the rear elevation, including new divided light doors and the wood pergola that are not visible from the streetscape. So the house conveys its historic integrity and can convey its Spanish colonial revival style and its 1924 appearance. And because it retains high integrity and qualifies under criterion C, qualifies for a structure of merit. There.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I think the owner's here and has a few may say.
Would the owner like to make a statement?
Hello, good afternoon. My name is William McCoy, and I'm the owner of 20 East Los Olivos. I was sitting back there like a proud parent, hearing all about my house. It's like a dream of mine to have a Spanish colonial house, and I've been looking for about 7 years. And so when I first saw this home, fell in love, and I'm honored to be the steward for the next chapter. And we really want to keep the integrity of the house as close to possible as the original. So I appreciate you listening to what we have to say about the house.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Any other public comment?
Thank you, Commissioner Jordan. If there's anyone else in the room who'd like to speak on this item, please go ahead and stand up and come up to the podium. Not seeing any movement, so I'll turn to virtual. If there's anyone participating virtually on Zoom who would like to speak on this item, please raise your hand and we can call on you. Not seeing any raised hands either, and we did not receive written correspondence, so I'll turn it back to the commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'll turn to the commission. Any questions? Any comments? I'll just make one comment. This is always, in my opinion, a very positive thing for the city when an owner steps forward and wants to take charge and be a good steward. So I think this is always a positive step for the city, and I thank the owner.
Chair?
Yes.
I just want to agree with that and just, again, just have great appreciation. This is, especially at this time when the city is being inundated with so many changes and housing, and it's really important to see these places and to have them be protected. It just warms my heart and just inspires me beyond belief to see this house and that we all are familiar with. And thank you so much, and appreciate it. And it just underscores the importance of the work that we do here at Historic Landmarks Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair is listening for a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, to designate through resolution 20 East Los Olivos Street as a structure of merit. Resolution number 2025-7.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's have a roll call.
Thank you, Commissioner Jordan. Commissioner Butler.
Yes.
Commissioner Lenvick.
Yes.
Commissioner McClure.
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan.
Yes.
Commissioner Drury.
Yes.
And Commissioner Ensberg.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Is it appropriate to make the
certificate.
statement about
The certificate.
the certificate? Let me make sure I sign the right one. Yes.
That one's for me, and the next one's for the owner.
Okay.
You can call him up.
If he would like to come up and receive your certificate, and you get this
That's
guy.
what for me. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll email you.
Okay, let's move on to item number 2. Oh, that's the item that's been postponed.
Correct, and just to repeat, this item has been postponed to a date certain of July 16th, 2025. There was a survey that was missing from the agenda that will be provided on the agenda when it returns.
Okay.
And we are a little bit early, but we are still within the 10 minutes or 15 minutes that we can start the next item.
So item number 3, if there's no objection from the commission, is a structure of merit designation for 1740 Overlook Lane. Request to adopt Resolution 2025-9, designating the Spanish colonial revival style residence designed by George Washington Smith in 1922 with an addition by Lockwood DeForest Jr. in 1927 to 33, a historic structure of merit.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. So I have to say, there are not many times when I've worked here that I get an email that says, I'm restoring a George Washington Smith house and want to have it designated. Can you come by? So it's really lovely to meet the owners who've been restoring this house. It wasn't even on our radar that there was a George Washington Smith house up there or on mine. So it's really exciting to get to know this house better for all of us. Here you can see where it is. It's up an Eucalyptus Hill off of Alameda Padre Serra, and you turn down Overlook Lane, and it's right here. And just a few doors down, there's another George Washington Smith that's a landmark that's done in an unusual French Norman style, unusual for his firm at least. So George Washington Smith designed the house in 1922. The date on the drawings was June 27th. And what was really unusual about this house is in 1927 and 1932, Lockwood DeForest Jr., the landscape architect, designed the additions, which is very rare and special as well. Again, it was done in the Spanish colonial revival style in Eucalyptus Hill. So to sort of begin with, a little background on Eucalyptus Hill. As we know, it's there's approximately now 1,000 residences, though it remained largely uninhabited until the 1800s. At that time, several industrial magnates, sometimes referred to as the hilltop barons, began constructing mansions on top of this area's scenic hills. The neighborhood derives its name from the large number of eucalyptus trees planted by Frederick Forrest Peabody along the road leading to his mansion, Solana, which stood at the hill's summit. Peabody imported and planted over 7,000 eucalyptus trees from Australia, and the road leading to Solana became known as what we call Eucalyptus Hill Road. This particular house, as I mentioned, was designed by George Washington Smith, one of Santa Barbara's most prominent architects known for his Spanish colonial revival work, and Lockwood DeForest Jr., who was a landscape architect, who designed the landscape for the property that same year and the additions on the house. Just wanted to say a few more words about these works of these masters. As David Gephardt wrote about George Washington Smith, is that he really designed with picturesque simplicity. His use of extensive plain wall surfaces, arches, clay tile roofs, iron grillwork, and heavy wood components and deeply recessed wall openings were all part of the simplicity in composition. His career extended from 1918 until 1930, when he died at 54. He designed 116 projects, and 86 of which were actually constructed, and 58 residences were designed in Santa Barbara County and City, with public buildings being the News Press Building, the Libero Building, the Meridian Citos, the Little Town Club, Santa Barbara Chapel and Crematorium, and the Lacumba Golf and Country Club, amongst others. Lockwood DeForest Jr. was professionally a landscape architect, had a deep love and knowledge of the California landscape while at Thatcher School in Ojai, where he developed this. Although he had a brief professional preparation, he practiced landscape architecture for almost 30 years. He had a strong regional sensitivity and considerable horticultural knowledge that led to major commissions, including the estate designs for Valverde, Casa de Herrero, and a long consulting relationship with the Santa Barbara Botanic Gardens and the Santa Barbara Museum of Art. And he and his wife were editing the Santa Barbara Gardener from 1925 to 1942. And just to show you some of the, not only did I get that lovely call from the owner, but she had all the original drawings, which is also such a treat. But this drawing was found on Patricia Gephardt's back of her book she wrote on George Washington Smith, and it was an early rendering of the house, but it's almost in reverse. It's backwards from what was actually designed, which was actually the garage on this side and the front of the house here. And you can see the garage doors faced sideways at that time. And this is the design of Lockwood de Forest in 1927, where he turned the garage doors to face forward, designed this conical entrance and this little addition here. And he actually put in this note, old door, like as we'd say now, new door to be reused in the new opening. And here's the Lockwood de Forest's site plan with his beautiful penmanship that he has. And this was the grill design he did for the window right next to the door, which is in restoration and about to be reinstalled soon as part of the restoration. And here, I think I just put the 1927 building permit because I just have never seen a building permit with his name on it. Lockwood de Forest Jr. I was like, are you seriously? He did a building design? Because I haven't seen him do any building designs other than landscape. And then in 1932, he did some side and rear alterations on the building. And to continue with why the building qualifies under criteria 3, in addition to the work of a master, it is an example of a Spanish colonial revival style. Like the previous application, we noted that Spanish colonial revival is so important to Santa Barbara, promoted by architects like George Washington Smith and the Plans and Planting Committee. It does have the following character-defining features of the Spanish colonial revival, including the low-pitched intersecting gables and conical roof covered in terracotta tiles, the simple detail at the cornices and eaves that emphasize the terracotta tile that creates the decorative edge from the roof to the wall, the smooth whitewashed planar stucco walls with careful use of openings, the arched capped stucco chimney right here that you see, as well as the wood plank door that was the main entrance to the building, and the casement windows with horizontally divided lights. And as noted, the addition is significant in its own right as such a rare example of a Lockwood de Forest architectural design. And the main alteration that has happened on the building is the 1922 landscape design by Lockwood de Forest is no longer there. However, the current owners do intend to pay homage to that by, I have this right here, by honoring the garden plans to keep the layout, the citrus trees, and the olive trees that remain. And thus the building does really convey this image that it was since 1927 and when Lockwood de Forest did the addition. And that concludes my presentation on the project. And I think the owner might be online.
Perfect. I have Angela with her hand raised. So I'm going to go ahead and send you an unmute request. And you can go ahead and speak.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I think my video is not working. Apologies. Thank you so much for looking at the house today. I apologize if you can't see me here. I'm trying. We greatly appreciate you all hearing about the house today. Like the other gentleman said, we really feel proud of it. We've been trying to preserve as much as we can, all original doors, windows, salvaging everything in and out to really honor the house. So we'd be just delighted to get it designated today.
Thank you.
And just to clarify for the commission and for the owner online, our Zoom participation doesn't allow for cameras on, so you're not doing anything wrong. We heard you loud and clear, so thank you.
Okay. Turning to the commission for questions.
Oh, pardon my interruption. If we could briefly open public comment just for
Oh,
the
that's
rest
right.
of the-
Public comment.
Thank you. If there's anyone in the room who'd like to speak on this item, please fill out a speaker slip and then come up to the podium. Not seeing any movement for that. Turning to virtual, if there's anyone joining virtual online who'd like to speak on this item, please raise your hand and we can call on you. Not seeing any raised hands, and then we did not receive any written correspondence, so I'll turn it back to the commission. Thank you.
Now I'll turn it to the commission for questions.
I just have a comment.
Let's go into comments then from the commission.
Mr. Chair, thank you. This is one of the most attractive and pleasurable actions this commission can take, is designating these things as structures of merit. And I want to thank Nicole Hernandez for all her work in this quest. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I went by yesterday to look at this building and was pleasantly surprised at how carefully it has been restored by the owner. It is a superb job. I didn't get inside, but I talked to the contractor for a few minutes, and he indicated that they are doing everything they can to make sure the interiors are done in as respectful a manner as possible. So it is an exciting building to add to our collection of structures of merit.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Agree with what has been said. And again, I just have to say, well, my comment would be, your wish is granted. And with great thanks. And again, this is, this house and the one we looked at before, I could just sit there, I think all of us could just sit there for hours and just stare at it. It's just so beautifully and simply put together in just such a, this poetic way we talk about all the time. So it's just, both are excellent examples of why we're so happy and grateful and proud to live here. So I'm just delighted to support this. Thank you.
Any other comments? I'll just say this is a good day for Santa Barbara because people in this town care about this town. So with that, let's go to a roll call and see how the vote goes.
I would like to make a motion for
Motion.
Oh, yeah.
Can I do that?
of resolution to designate as a structural merit 1740 Overlook Lane
Okay.
in Santa Barbara. Resolution number 2025-9.
Second.
Second. Oh, go ahead.
Second by Commissioner Drury.
All right, I'll take
Now
the
let's
call.
vote.
Yes, I'll take the vote. Commissioner Lenvick,
Yes.
Commissioner McClure,
Yes.
Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Drury,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensberg,
Yes.
and Commissioner Butler.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
To the owner, I will mail you your certificate of designation. Thank you.
Okay, pass that on down. Moving on now to item number 4. This is a structure of merit designation for 903 Arbolado Road. Request to adopt Resolution 2025-10, designating the Spanish colonial revival style residence designed by Ana Louise Murphy Vey in 1922, a historic structure of merit.
Well, thank you, commissioners. I will start. I think it's nice to get oriented before we start. And you can see this house is on the Riviera, just above Alameda Padre Serra, which is here. And you take Arbolado Road up, and it's on this curve. And you can also see in the 1931 Sanborn map, it was one of the few of the buildings that were built in 1922 on that road, with lots of vacant parcels ready to be filled. This is, by the way, this came to me in 2022 through the process that we look at all buildings over 50 years old. And that's when we found out it was an Anna Louise Murphy Vey building and put on the historic resources inventory. So I think that process actually can be very successful when we find these little treasures that we didn't even know were up there when they come in for a project. And in 2022, it was reviewed on consent, the project that's currently going on by consent reviewers. So just some background. I'll show you those plans as we go through. But as noted, it was constructed in 1922 by in the Spanish Colonial Revival by Anna Louise Murphy Vey in the Riviera neighborhood. The neighborhood is characterized by the curving streets with no sidewalks, and the Riviera's terrain slopes steeply from north to south, which enhances views towards the city's downtown ocean. And as a character feature of this street is the sandstone retaining walls and boundary walls that you see all through the Riviera. The Riviera was long considered too arid and barren to settle until the early 1900s, which was a major turning point for the city when they extended again, just like for the Upper East, the streetcar line from Mission Santa Barbara up into the Riviera. It was at this point in 1913, actually, that the investors called the Riviera Company incorporated the area and purchased additional land nearby. The Riviera Company really reimagined the neighborhood's entire character, and between 1920 and 1950 was responsible for most of its notable features, including planting of the still extant oak trees, the proliferation of terracing built by 20th century Italian stonemasons, and strong encouragements, sometimes requirements, by the residents to construct terracotta-roofed, white stuccoed Spanish Colonial Revival style homes. The majority of the housing stock in the Riviera was built between 1915 through 1975, and the Riviera Company insisted that lots be oriented so that no home would impair another's view. As a result, even to this day, the Riviera offers unobstructed panoramic views of the Pacific Ocean. And to go into a little bit more about Anna Louise Murphy Vey, this house was her first in Santa Barbara. She came to Santa Barbara from Detroit in 1919 with her husband. She brought with her knowledge and experience, and she joined the Community Arts Association Plans and Plantings Committee, and was helped in transforming Santa Barbara into the Spanish colonial revival city it is today. This was the house she designed as her own home, and on November 5th, 1922, the Santa Barbara Morning Press described the house, which was called El Alvarado, the Woodlands, having borders, oaks, and sweeping views of the ocean, harbor, and islands. Its beauty smiling down upon them. This home is one of the showplaces of the country road about and adds distinction to the remainder of the tract. It was submitted by Vey to an architectural competition for House Beautiful magazine, which I have a cover of the House Beautiful magazine from 1922 that I could find. And you can see here her storyboard for that competition, which was at the UCSB's Design and Architecture Museum. And you can really see from the photograph that the building really looks much like it did today with just a few alterations. And a little bit, I just want to do a little bit more about Anna Marie because she is a master, and a little bit more about her career. Not only did she design this building, but her and her husband purchased and restored Casa de Ramirez, which is one of Santa Barbara's first adobe homes that was originally constructed in 1825, and they restored it in 1923. And that is a landmark that sits on the corner of Laguna and East Cannon Perdido Street. And additionally, she was very involved with the Plans and Planting Committee, with the small house movement. First of all, her and Pearl Chase were both very involved in submitting all the small house competitions that Santa Barbara had, and even were part of making sure that Santa Barbara won the national-wide contest in 1926. And Vey also designed a brick house for the Community Arts Association submission to the Better Homes of America competition in 1925 with her own design of the house at 1116 North Milpas Street, which is on our historic resources inventory. She also was her and her husband purchased the acreage off of the 900 block of Garden Street by 1930. They developed the little secluded block, which is on that high hill above Garden Street on El Casario, with noted architects and artists, to be a grouping of 9 studios or bungalows called El Casario Lane, which is the private street that is a landmark today. And I know at least Luda Maria Riggs designed one of the houses, so did Anna Marie Murphy-Vey, and so did Edward Plunkett. If you haven't walked that street, it's truly a pleasure. And she also published the book, Architectural Byways in New Spain, Mexico, Photographs and Measured Drawings in Doorways, Windows, Fountains, and Balconies. And she went on to design many other commissions. And of course, it's really always noted that a woman who is on the ground of planning Santa Barbara and being an architect in the 1920s is groundbreaking and an accomplishment in itself. And to go on, not only was it designed by Annalise Murphy-Vey, but it does have the sandstone features that are so important to Santa Barbara. The use of traditional sandstone in the construction of walls during this period from 1870 to 1940, when Santa Barbara was quickly growing into a vibrant city, was only made possible by the abundant supply of our sandstone and the cadre of expert masons and the financing of private citizens. It provided an atmosphere conducive of having our beautiful walls, bridges, gardens, and other stoneworks in Santa Barbara, and encourage exceptional expressions of masons' art, and they are really important to our city streetscapes. And finally, the building also conveys the following character-defining features of the Spanish colonial revival wall style, including the terracotta tiles that emphasize the roof edge and creating that decorative edge from the roof to the wall, the stucco walls with carefully placed openings, the complex void and masses created by the interplay of volumes, the window and doors being wood casement windows, as well as the wrought iron Juliet balcony over the front entry, the expressive front entry surround, and the native sandstone, and the uncovered patio along the front facade. And as far as historic integrity, the building really has the main alterations were actually 2 minor alterations: the enclosure of the front balcony and the carport, which were actually done by Luda Maria Riggs, but it went definitely in the 1955 with a more mid-century feel. And these minor alterations are not considered historic in their own right, as their mid-century modern feel doesn't really complement the Vey design. So other than those 2 minor alterations, the building does convey its 1922 appearance. And I did want to go through what was approved in 2022. It was December 22 that this went to the commission. You'll see the existing house and carport, and they're moving the enclosure more towards a Spanish colonial revival enclosure with a little more dimension of windows and wood rather than more the 1950s element, and reducing the carport, which covered a lot of this beautiful sandstone element that Vey had designed. There was no changes to this elevation. There's some minor elevations, some minor changes just on the windows, the door back here on the rear, and on the other rear that are not visible from the public right-of-way. And again, these were all approved and found to meet the Secretary of Interior's standards and would not impact the historic resource. And here's the site plan that shows they're also adding a pool in the rear. And that the project is underway, but they're also, I should mention it also, the project includes restoration of all the original wood doors and windows, so that it will, although it's mid-project, we've approved structures of merits before restoration, during, and after. This applicant is moving forward at this time, and I strongly encourage them so that they can qualify for the Mills Act, which is due June 30th, the applications. So that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer questions. And I think the owner's online.
Yes.
Thank you. I believe the owner, Mr. John Barrett, is online. If you'd like to talk, go ahead and raise your hand and I can give you permissions. Perfect. And you can unmute and you can speak to the commission.
Hey there, good afternoon, folks. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the house and start by saying, we fell in love with this home, not only because of the beauty of the actual home, but it really has a soul, this home. And from the time we walked in there, and you look around both internally and externally, we just had this deep connection to the craftsmanship and the character that was built into the home. There's really an incredible, we're very fortunate the home hasn't been changed too much, honestly. And there's just a timeless elegance in the way that the light touches the stucco and the plaster walls. There's hand-forged ironwork throughout the home that's original. The tile details are all original, and it's very intentional, and it's very human, right? It's very alive. It's amazing for a home that's almost over 100 years old. And then for us also, what made it even more special was it was designed by Anna Louise Murphy-Vey, who, I mean, you folks know that, but was one of the few women practicing architecture in Santa Barbara at that time. And she definitely brought, as Nicole just said, she brought a very distinctive personal vision to the city's architectural language and heritage. And when you look at how she placed that house on that site, it's completely incredible. The home really embraces its surroundings. And throughout, we really love about it, there's a grace in this home, but there's also a deep practicality throughout. So it's quite remarkable what she did there. So, living in this home and renovating it, we definitely don't feel just like homeowners. We feel like stewards, right? This home is connected to the story of Santa Barbara, and Anna Louise Murphy-Vey helped shape that. And we're really proud to preserve that legacy and just super honored that the city is considering this designation. So we appreciate it. And thank you for all of your work as well, Nicole.
Thank you very much. Let's turn to public comment.
Thank you. If there's anyone in the room who would like to speak on this item, please go ahead and stand up, fill out a speaker slip, and come up to the podium. Not seeing any movement, so turning to virtual public comment. If there is anyone who'd like to speak on this item attending on Zoom, please raise your hand and we can call on you. Not seeing any raised hands, and we did not receive any written correspondence, so I'll turn it back to the commission.
Okay, I'll turn it to the commission first for questions.
Yes, Chair. I have a question. So there's as I understand it, there's a permit in process that they're working on for these repairs to the building. So when we approve this, we're not locking in anything of the work that has been done, the changes that have been done. Maybe I didn't say that very well. That approval of this it's not approving it as it is right now. It's just approving it or designating it, I should say, as a structure of merit. I guess I'm trying to understand, how does it affect, or does it affect the proposed work that's coming?
It doesn't affect it.
Okay.
Because it's been listed on the inventory, and the plans were approved by HLC and meet the Secretary of Interior standards. And being on the inventory and the designation is typically a formality to qualify for the Mills Act, or just because the owner really wants the protection. But as far as review, it's the same. So we're just doing it midway through the restoration, but it doesn't change the approval.
Or cause them any difficulty
No.
with the work that they're moving forward with, that has been approved by HLC already?
Right.
Okay.
If it hadn't been approved by HLC and found to meet the Secretary of Interior standards, we would look at that a little differently. But because as we all know, that you guys are really tough. We know your projects are good. So, I mean, it went through a very, it went through.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Appreciate it.
Comments?
Yeah, I'll make a comment. The house is under extensive renovation right now. I mean, there's scaffolding across the front. stuff has been taken down. And what we saw in the approved project and what is being constructed now is making the residence better. It is getting closer to its original features, and it will be a nice building, residence, when it is done. So I am very pleased with what I see out there. I went out and looked at it. Very pleased with what I see going on, and in particular, when I see the drawings that were approved by HLC previously, which I was not aware of. We have a very, very good project and a good designation before us.
I'll just make one quick comment. Santa Barbara has a very rich architectural heritage. It's well known for well-designed buildings, and you only get that if you have a rich heritage for the professional practice of architecture in this town. And I think the story of Anna Louise Murphy-Vey is an important part of that. So I'm very supportive of this project. And if there are no other comments, the chair is listening for a motion.
I would move to adopt Resolution 2025-10, designating 903 Arbolado Road as a structure of merit.
Second.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Butler, seconded by Commissioner Ensberg. Roll call, please.
Thank you. Commissioner Dordan,
Yes.
Commissioner McClure,
Yes.
Commissioner Drury,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
and Commissioner Lenvik.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
And I will mail the certificate to the owner if he's still on. Thank you.
Okay, pass that on down. Moving on to item number 5, the archaeology report for 1533 State Street, also referenced as 1529 State Street. Located in EPV Landmark District, Part 1, proposal to construct a new 4-story mixed-use development comprised of 27 units developed under the city's average unit size density incentive program, with an average unit size of 811 square feet. The first floor of the development includes a 4,500 square foot commercial space, parking garage, residential office, residential lobby, residential yoga studio, and additional amenity space. The project also includes a basement level garage for the residential units, a bicycle storage room, and a residential storage room. Staff hearing officer review and approval of a modification for the open yard is required. And this is requesting acceptance of a Phase 1 archaeological report prepared by Leftwich Archaeology. Dr. Glassow reviewed the report and agrees with its conclusions and recommendations. Any comments from staff?
Just a brief comment that, as a reminder, the project is not under review today. It's just the Phase 1 Archaeological Resources Report, which is confidential, so it won't be presented publicly, but all of the commissioners were able to review it before the hearing, and hopefully we have an archaeologist here that you can come on up to this chair right here in front of the laptop. There will be nothing for you to present, but if you just want to give a brief summary of the conclusions of the report, and then the commission will be able to ask you questions if need be.
Best of the
Hi, Dr. Brent Leftwich, Leftwich Archaeology, the author, owner of Leftwich Archaeology, and author of the report. The Phase 1 is pretty standard on this. The only catch is this is Cantwell's Market now, or it was until recently, is that entire property is pavement and buildings. So there was virtually no visibility. The historic review of the property shows there was really nothing on that property until the Cantwell Market building. The last Sanborn map, which was around 1950, just shows it as a vacant lot. So we're not really concerned about anything of historic importance in there. However, because there's no ground visibility, the Phase 1 cannot be considered conclusive as is. So the recommendations were during initial ground disturbance, such as popping up the pavement, don't need to be there for demo, but once you're hauling away what's obscuring the ground surface, that there is some limited monitoring going on as a safeguard, and it will be up to the archaeologist who is monitoring to determine either this is all fill that's being impacted or enough of the visibility has been created that you can make a conclusion as to the likelihood of anything being there.
Thank you. So let's open this for public comment.
Thank you. If there is anyone in the room who would like to speak on this item, please stand up, fill out a speaker slip, and approach the podium. Not seeing any movement for that, so turning to virtual public comment. If there's anyone participating on Zoom who'd like to speak on this item, please raise your hand and we can call on you. See, I do have one raised hand for Alex Perez. Alex, I'm going to go ahead and send you an unmute request. Please unmute, and then you'll have 2 minutes to speak.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, hey, my name is Alex Perez. I'm a member of the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters. I live in the local area and live, work, and recreate in the vicinity of the project. I believe that I will be impacted by the environmental impacts of the project. The city should require the project to be built with contractors that will hire locally, pay prevailing wage, and utilize apprentices from state certified apprenticeship programs. Workforce requirements reduce construction-related environmental impacts while benefiting the local economy and workforce development. In a recent 2020 report titled Putting California on the High Road, a Jobs and Climate Action Plan for 2030, the California Workforce Development Board concluded that investments in growing, diversifying, and upskilling California's workforce can positively affect returns on climate mitigation efforts. The South Coast Air Quality Management District recently found that local hire requirements can result in air pollutant reductions. Recently, the state of California reiterated its commitment towards encouraging workforce development and housing affordability through the Affordable Housing and High Roads Jobs Act of 2022, otherwise known as Assembly Bill 2011, which requires projects pay workers a prevailing wage and hire from state certified apprenticeship programs for projects meeting certain siting, affordability, and development standards. And that's what I got for today. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any more raised hands, so I'll just state for the record that we did receive written correspondence from Naira Sagbatian on behalf of the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters, and that was distributed to the commission prior to the hearing. So back to you.
Thank you. So I'll turn to the board for any questions from the commission.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Drury.
so I understand that when you expose the ground, when it's cleared for demolition or by demolition, you'll have monitors there anyway.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So the pavement being popped up, that kind of stuff would require monitoring. Yeah, if they're demoing just the structure itself, we don't need to be there because you're not disturbing the ground, but yeah. Yes.
Any other questions?
Good report.
So comments? So far, it's good report.
Yep, good report.
Any other comments?
Is that a motion?
I've made my motions today.
Emotionless.
Yes, you make a motion. You're good at that.
Emotional.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Drury. Do we hear a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Butler. Any further discussion? So let's go to a roll call.
Thank you. Commissioner Drury,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
Commissioner Lenvick,
Yes.
Commissioner McClure,
Yes.
and Commissioner Jordan.
Yes,
Motion passes. Thank you.
thank you. 2:35, so we're on track. So we'll move on to the final item on today's agenda, item 6, 916 State Street, the Santa Barbara International Film Festival Film Center, requesting project design approval and final approval, located in the EPV Landmark District Part 1, proposed exterior alterations, so the existing theater, including new finishes, soffit and light fixtures at existing canopy marquee, new poster cases at the exterior walls and columns, remodel of exterior entry foyer, new roof screen around the mechanical equipment. The project qualifies for an exemption from further environmental review under Section 15301, existing facilities of the California Environmental Quality Act. Project design approval and final approval are requested. Project compatibility findings are required, and the project was last reviewed on May the 7th, 2025.
Mr. Chair, Ellen Kokinda, I'm the acting city planner. I just wanted to share again, as we know about this project, this is within the city parking lot structure, and SBIF, the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, is proposing their film center here. This is a really exciting project, and this applicant group is on quite a tight timeline. So we are trying to do everything we can from a planning entitlement process and building permit process to try to ensure that they can be up and running in February when the annual film festival is going to be held. This project is here today. It's been deemed complete by the planning division and our land development team. And therefore, it is, we were able to schedule this for project design approval and final approval. So just hope you all consider that as part of reviewing these plans, and that they are requesting both approvals today. And that's all I wanted to share. But we're really excited about this. This is very much a priority project, and looking forward to the operation.
Understood. Thanks for those comments. So let's go to public comment.
Or the minutes from the previous hearing.
Oh, the minutes from the previous. Okay.
So the motion from the previous hearing was to continue indefinitely with comments. One, the commission thanks the applicant team for taking on this very tough design challenge and doing a good job in bringing forward a project that will be a wonderful addition to the city. The commission is very encouraged and wants to make their comments as helpful as possible and looks forward to seeing the return design. 2, study removal of the columns at the entry, study adding columns, and study keeping the columns, while recognizing that this spaced transition from the main entry lobby to the next level is the biggest design challenge. 3, supports the chosen lettering and the direction that the applicant is going with it. 4, supports the concept of the red carpet design with the suggestion of continuing the design up to the main level, and with city support, continue it to the sidewalk. The commission likes the direction it is going, while also understanding the design challenges it creates on the lower levels. 5, in general, the ramp handrail is too solid. Study opening it up in various ways and suggests using wrought iron or other ways to make it more transparent. 6, suggests incorporating some artistic version of film reel, especially in wrought iron, on the handrails rather than simple brass handrails. 7, make the exterior column more interesting and playful and architectural, studying the Lobero and Marjorie Luke Theater's outdoor kiosks for inspiration. Study integrating wrought iron or other architectural ways to dress up the column. The column may not necessarily need to be tied to the base and building. 8, make the poster cases on exterior more robust, perhaps in wrought iron, and make them stronger pieces. The integration of the film reel design is clever and supportable. 9, suggests changing the corner pendant light fixture for the marquee from a hanging fixture to a surface-mounted fixture with wrought iron protection of some sort or some other decorative element, especially due to the potential for damage to them. 10, align or integrate the arched poster cases with the scallops above in some way. 11, study a more dark or more dramatic vibe. 12, in general, more integration of wrought iron is encouraged. 13, study centering the stairway handrails or placing them on the axis in some other way to get them to resolve in a symmetrical way. 14, study ceiling treatments. 15, continue to look at the red carpet design depending on the surrounding architecture design. 16, study the marquee with central arch clearance. The motion was made by Uli, seconded by Dordan, and all of you were here, so I don't need to ask if you watched the video. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the chair and the applicant team.
And so now it's time for the applicant's presentation. If you would introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name's Steve Fort. I'm with SEPS Land Use Consulting. I'm sitting in for a coworker who was probably here last time, Trish Allen, also with SEPS. I just want to introduce the team really quickly. And also, I do also believe you guys need to make project compatibility findings as part of the motion when you get to it. Again, Steve Fort with SEPS. With me today is Sean Pratt from the film festival, and I just met the folks. I'm going first. Names Palav is in the center there, and Kruti and Cody back here. And I'm going to hand it off to Sean. He's going to make a couple of comments, then hand it off to the design team folks.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Sean Pratt, Managing Director for the Santa Barbara Film Festival. Roger Durling, our Executive Director, as you know, was here last time. He's on a business trip, but he is watching online, so he is here with us. Yeah. I just want to say thank you guys for last time, and we're excited to be back here and talking about these points. And we just want to appreciate everyone with the city and the commission here, with all the great work and comments that you were given. And just want to hand it over to Kruti and our team.
Thank you, everyone.
Here we go. I just wanted to say on behalf of the design team, thank you for your comments in the last presentation. We took a closer look at the theater spaces, or the exterior spaces, and we believe that we've made some changes to the betterment of the project. So we really do want to thank you all for your time. With that said, I'd like to just go into the presentation, the bulk of which you've already seen, but just by way of a brief reintroduction to the project. The project is at 916 State Street. It has a significant frontage onto State Street, but there is a component of the project that also turns the corner and faces the adjacent Marshalls. I believe it's a Marshalls department store. We are, in our project, we are seeking to co-opt that corner as well, and that's one of the key items that we'd like to discuss with you today. As previously reviewed, the building currently exists as a Fiesta 5 theater. It is comprised of 5 individual film theaters. It is a primary location for the Santa Barbara Film Festival, and it exists in a location that has quite a bit of street frontage. The theater itself is completely embedded within an existing parking structure. The current condition of the theater is one that's in a significant amount of disrepair. Elements such as the marquee, which you can see here, are essentially strapped together. The lighting is not decorative in nature and quite unlike the other theaters that exist in Santa Barbara. The interior of the space is very, very dark. The theater itself is partially subterranean. So though this area is considered an exterior space, it's very much interiorized. And it's a challenge to find natural light in that space. There are currently large decorative ceiling elements that are sort of hanging low in the space. There's a heavy wall that's separating the accommodations for accessibility from the primary public sequence. So our goal was to take what currently is a very dark, very foreboding type of space and create a lighter, a more welcoming atmosphere in from State Street into the theater. To do that, we sought our first and primary inspiration in the city of Santa Barbara itself. So our focus was to take cues from the beautiful architecture and the beautiful motifs that we see within Santa Barbara and to apply them in this very unique location. So we've employed beautiful craftsmen. We're seeking to employ beautiful craftsmanship in terms of our plaster work, iron work, as well as creating expressions of wood and other types of details that on the whole elevate and add a detail and a texture to the foyer space that currently does not exist. The one thing that in our review of the design that we presented last time that we worked with is really how to create a magical space, how to create and sort of provide a welcoming environment that focuses on what is a typically a poetic and kind of a magical transformative sequence and experience of going to a movie. And you'll see that time and time again in Santa Barbara. You see beautiful marquees with exquisite lighting elements, the interplay between signage and decor, and you'll have ironwork, you'll have red carpets. You know, there's a whole litany of motifs that we wanted to apply in our project. But one of the key differentiators is our project is partially subterranean, so it naturally is a very dark space. So how do you create a warm and inviting and welcoming space when you're underground? And And one of the ways that we have chosen to create that effect is to use lighter colors, to use lighter materials that are reflective in nature, that allow for the light to kind of come in and to bounce off of the various surfaces, and be a more inviting space that encourages patrons to go into the theaters. This is an existing photograph of the building. What you see here in the elevation is the exterior poster case. The strategy, what we did is take a look at the actual poster case enclosure. We made it a more robust architectural motif and architectural feature at State Street. We've added some scroll work and some decorative elements to that. And this is largely remains the same. There was a comment in the last presentation to consider a change to the underside of the marquee to allow for the archway and the gate to be properly expressed. And what we've done there is we've lifted up the marquee just a little bit. It was a matter of inches. So we were able to lift it up so that you can fully see the expressed arch and the gate. But we've kept the curved coffering and the decorative lighting as you've seen before. And this is a view of the entrance into the theater. You'll see here that we've clarified what the lighting scheme and the lighting approach is for the actual film center marquee signage element. It'll be a combination of internally illuminated lettering with white halo lighting behind it. So it'll be substantially more legible from an oblique and from a frontal approach as well.
So I'm sure you remember from the last time we were here, the existing condition of the interior right now, and as you saw in the photos, currently has 3 different heights of landings leading from street level down to the theater entry level. You can see from our proposed plan on the right here, the biggest move that we're making is turning that into 2 landings, one at street level, one at theater entrance level, and connecting those with a very more ADA friendly than an elevator lift ramp. So you can see that on our plan south here. Again, existing RCP reflected ceiling plan is on the left versus our proposed on the right. You can see the changes we're making to the exterior marquee leading into the space. We are also bringing in, you can see on the left side of our plan, right inside the marquee there, we're bringing this motif of the flower shape that you see on the ceiling. We're bringing that from not only above the theater entrance or the box offices, but now we're employing that same motif at the street level entrance. So this is a motif you see right when you walk in the building, right when you walk in the theater, and it happens on the interior as well. On the ceiling above the ramp area, you can see we're employing these directional light fixtures, and you'll see in the views better why we are doing that. But instead of just having basic boring walls surrounding this ramp, we saw it as an opportunity to really celebrate the donors and the community of Santa Barbara, celebrating their contribution to this project. And this is an opportunity for, anybody in Santa Barbara, anybody who wants to be a part of this project to really be highlighted and be a part of our project. So at the top view here, this is our updated rendering, obviously, of the entrance level. You can see on the ceiling on either side those flower shapes that we're bringing to that ceiling that are echoing what's happening above the box office as well. You can see that we've brought this red carpet experience that we talked about last time all the way to the street level. So it starts as soon as you get to the entrance gate of the project. You can also see the update that we've made in both views to the handrail. Instead of perforated metal, as we shared with you last time, we've updated this to be glass. We are playing with the magic of film, with the film or etching that's going to take place on that glass. And if you look closely, you can see that it is a collection of film reels, large and small, really celebrating the fact that this is a movie palace and this is where the magic happens. Also updated renderings of the space. You can see the box office in this top rendering. I really want to bring to your attention here that we have thickened these movie posters, the encasement of them, as we spoke about last time, given them a thicker profile and made them feel more full and less floating off the wall. And again, above the box office in both of these views, you can see that same flower motif happening on the ceiling. You can see in the bottom view, which we've pulled back last time, it was a bit closer to the stairs. This time we wanted to really pull it back as far as we could so you can understand that red carpet in its entirety, all the way to that gate level, as wide as that gate goes, down the stairs using those red tones as well, and pulling that red tile, in this case, all the way to the theater entrance. And you can see in the top view just a little bit that that red carpet actually continues into the interior of the theater as well. Travertine tile on either side of that really speaks to the symmetry of the space. I know last time we talked about, based on how our views looked, that the symmetry wasn't exactly accurate. This time we really wanted to share with you how this red carpet coming all the way from the top into the theater is really celebrating the symmetry of the space and responding to the architecture. If you don't mind going back one.
I'll also add real quick that we are extending the red carpet out to the sidewalk. So you'll see that in the rendering at the top. You can see that that vestibule now also has red carpet. And we extend the red carpet out to the outside face of the entrance portal. So from the moment you're under the marquee, what you're looking at in front of you is the red carpet of the movie theater.
I also, if you want, that's okay. I also wanted to talk here about these columns at the portal entry. I know that we studied this, adding them, taking them away, putting more a colonnade perhaps down the ramp. But what we settled on is simply making the shape of these portals respond better to the architecture that's existing to the gate at the entrance. We've thickened the crown of the column to have a 3D profile to be more in alignment with what you see all over Santa Barbara. And we played with the profile itself of the cutout. So now you'll see that we have 3 arches, which are, as I stated, responding to what's happening at the facade of the building with the gate.
And we believe that this new iteration of the vestibule also helps to reinforce the symmetry, the primary symmetry of the space. So it's aligned with the red carpet configuration. It echoes the symmetry that you experience when you're at the front door or the entrance doors into the theaters. So on the whole, we believe that this slight change helps to reinforce the overall conceptual design of the foyer space.
So here, taking a look at interior elevations, you can't see exactly in the top elevation here the thicker profile of these movie frames, but what you can see is that we did fuss around with the location of them to respond better to the scalloping that's happening above them. Because they are wider in form than the scallops above them, it's not possible that they can exactly align and fit in there perfectly, but we did explore the locations of them to respond as much as they possibly could to the scalloping happening above them. On the bottom elevation here, you can see not only the new glass guardrail, which is much more translucent, transparent than the previous one we shared with you. That's going to allow any patron in the theater who's standing at that location to see all the way to that back red donor wall. As I stated, that donor wall is an important part of our design. It's really a celebration of the city and the patrons of the theater. And finally, in these elevations, you can see the update that we've made to our handrail design, making it more sculptural in form, having the curved return, and being more informed by the architecture that exists all around the city. In the top elevation here, you can see exactly what I was talking about with our updated portal design, really responding to the shape of that gate and allowing the patron or the guest or the viewer to have that same experience walking through the gate, walking through the portal, and walking all the way down into the entrance of the theater. The middle elevation here is, again, that celebration of the donor wall. We're painting it a bright red to bring attention to it. We're celebrating it with the donors and the patrons of the community who helps contribute to the building of this project. Here you can see our signage throughout. So the top right signage, this is the sign that you see in the bottom right elevation, actually the SBIFF Film Center signage. It's going to be a bronze finish to match what's happening in our handrails, our doors, what's happening at the box office. And it is, of course, in the De La Guerra font, famous to Santa Barbara. You can also see in the bottom left signage element here, this is our exterior movie poster case. Last time we were meeting with you, we got the comment to explore a bit more scroll work on them, to celebrate them in form more. So you can see we've added scroll work to each side to mimic what's happening at the top. We've thickened these up just like we did on the interior to really celebrate the form and give them a bit more of a presence on the street level. This is the overall finish palette for the exterior vestibule and exterior of the building. We did share this with you in person last time. This is a collection of finishes that are happening in the form of tile, in the form of paint on the wall, in the form of perforated metal with the film reel cutouts near the box office. And you can see the light fixture on the right-hand side that looks like a star there is our updated proposal for the marquee. So last time we did talk about, we shared with you a pendant fixture, and there were concerns that it may get destroyed. So we have now swapped that out for a flush mount fixture with an acrylic lens. Obviously that will be a lot less prone to being destroyed and will really celebrate that whole motif of movie magic. This is the circular column that takes place on State Street. So last time we were here, we had a lengthy conversation, about really vitalizing this space and giving it a presence on State Street, making it somewhere that people walking down the street, whether they are going to attend a movie at the theater or not, really want to take a moment and chill and just be a part of their community. We took a lot of hints from the Marjorie Luke signage element that you see a picture of there in the bottom middle, as you can tell. And on the bottom right-hand corner there is obviously a black and white view of the decisions we've made. So I do want to say that this is our basis of design for this circular column. We are still exploring that we can achieve this profile with the existing column size. However, this is our basis of design. We really want to celebrate the form of it, give it a good footing to sit on, and offer a rectilinear, four-sided opportunity for signage, either for the theater, for the community, or just for Santa Barbara in general.
We've made no change to this particular element. This just by way of recap, but this is a screen that is meant to obscure vision of a cooling tower that is replacing one that's existing in that location. So it is a wood and metal screen that echoes the design ethos of the handrail that's underneath that exists in the garage. So it's a very streamlined element. It's just meant to provide a visual obstruction. And these are more detailed drawings of the elements under HLC review. We're happy to review any of these if you'd like. These are rendered elevations. We have some construction details of the marquee. Again, with the marquee, we are essentially restoring it. We are not planning on making any substantial design changes, excepting the underside. These are structural details, various elements in the foyer. And one additional plan change that we have made is essentially the HVAC system in the theaters is outdated and is not functioning properly. In order to update the HVAC in these houses, our mechanical engineer has requested that we extend some mechanical storage space behind the screen walls, specifically for theaters 2, 3, and 4. This additional storage space would essentially house the mechanical units for the respective theaters. Doing so in theater number 2, which is the middle, would you mind zooming out? In the middle of this, in theater number 3 would mean simply co-opting existing storage space, therefore rendering no change to any exterior walls. For theater number 2 and theater number 4, we are proposing to construct a slightly expanded mechanical closet space. And we are proposing to use some of the existing open space behind the theaters and at the garage. It in no way negatively impacts the required exit widths. So from a life safety standpoint, there is no negative impact. It does potentially have an additional positive impact in that that area currently is open to the public, and it's a place where sometimes people can spend some time that you might not want to have there. So what this does is it allows us to be able to essentially enhance the mechanical performance of the theaters, and the new equipment just needs a little bit more space.
Does that
That's
conclude?
it.
Thank you for a thorough presentation. So now we'll turn it to public comment.
Thank you, Commissioner Jordan. If there's anyone in the room who'd like to speak on this item, please stand up and approach the podium. Not seeing any movement, I'll turn to virtual. If there's anyone participating on Zoom who would like to speak on this item, please raise your hands and we can call on you. Not seeing any raised hands, and we did not receive any written correspondence. I'll turn it back to the commission. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll turn to the commission now for questions.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Drury.
so I'm assuming that the palette that you showed is not the real colors. The palette of the tile and the walls and
Yes.
was that dark?
So
Yes.
the colors that we are sharing, we did share these in person with you last time. The material palette itself has not evolved since then, other than the light fixture on the right. So I will say that the screen itself is distorting the colors a bit, but they are the same finishes you saw in person last time.
Okay, I'll have comments. Thank you.
I have one, thank you, Chair Jordan. I have two questions. The red carpet is tile.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay. And the handrail, it looked like brass in the renderings, but is it bronze?
It is somewhere a healthy mix between brass and bronze, yes. The renderings
there?
do depict it pretty accurately. And you can see in the finish they are brass/bronzy, somewhere in there, a good healthy mix of them.
They are mixed up. I mean, they are a different, well, you have wrought iron, and then you have, anyway, these look like brass to me. I don't have a problem with that. I was just trying to understand whether it was brass or bronze, and if they are different in different places, maybe you could just kind of explain where they change.
Sure. So they are the same finish throughout the entire project. I will say that
okay.
from top to bottom. The view on the bottom does distort that a little bit. I think I understand what you're saying with the middle portion. What is happening there is actually the vertical element is going to twist and have more of a decorative aspect like you see in Santa Barbara often. So that's what you're seeing in the view
Oh,
there.
that dark section there?
That is correct. It is the same finish. It
Okay.
is bronzy and it twists around itself.
So it's not a bright brass? It's
No,
okay.
no, it's a muted.
Okay. Okay, those were
It's a
my
muted
questions.
brass.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Let's roll into comments then. Comments.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Drury.
Yes, hang on just a moment. If I can read my writing, everything will be okay. So I wrote down pageantry, and for the foyer, red and gold. So that looks more like the red I would like to see instead of that darker tile burgundy. I think that's kind of a downer. I mean, you sort of, that picture of that gentleman, the top picture of the gentleman in the wheelchair, that looks celebratory.
Mhm.
That's really, really what's necessary. Is like you really feel like you're going into some event. And you go down through this well-lit, beautiful, cream-colored and gold and red corridor, and then you open up a door and it's dark, and you sit in your chair, and then the movie begins. I mean,
That's right.
That's kind of that's what I'm. So that's I'm glad to see that color as opposed to the burgundy, and I hope you keep it keyed up to a medium red, sort of like cadmium red light kind of thing, maybe. Let's see. Oh, so the film reels on display look to me like wagon wheels. Because the ellipse of a film reel is much wider as it comes around. So that needs to be addressed. Make sure you don't have a whole wall full of wagon wheels, because then you'll only be showing westerns, which would be fine with me, but still.
Well noted.
And I love the ceiling treatment. I love the arch and I'm glad the donor wall is going to be that key as opposed to the darker burgundy. I think those are my comments. I think this is a wonderful project. It's befitting Santa Barbara, and I think Mr. Durling will be very happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Insberg?
I'll go. Well, I want to say, I have several things. I want to just say this is an A+, in my opinion. I think you have absolutely responded to everything that we said, and we gave you options of how you could do it, and I think you really hit the nail on the head. So I really acknowledge you for working with us and for taking them, and I think I love the plan and how you compress the stairs to make them all in one place. I think that's safer. It gives you more space for a gathering by the box office by doing that, and it makes it very clear these are the stairs, and there's not another surprise stair somewhere else. So, and especially when it's with a lot of people in there. So I think that was a really brilliant move, and I acknowledge you for that. Really appreciate that you raised that marquee a few inches, because it makes such a difference.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. I really like the ceiling, how you have the you call it a flower motif. I love the burgundy. I guess I'm going to have to argue a little bit here, but I like the mix of colors you have. I think the dark and the light, I think all of that works really well. I especially like the dark ceiling down there by the box office as you're transitioning into the theater. I would just put it out there that maybe consider that, when you're coming in from the street where you have that same ceiling pattern, that you might consider making that be the dark too. Because, it's like sort of the compression and expansion. So you're coming in off the street, and then it's dark, and then you have that big blast open ceiling with the light. So just to think about that, not a requirement. I really like how you opened up the ramp. I mean, it all works. Everything's centered now. Before it felt off center,
Right.
And so that was really good, the way that you figured that out, and now it feels like the entrance it's all aligned. It was that sleight of hand that we were talking about. So that is really good. I love the column capital, how it was this sort of cutout thing before, and I really feel like this is very successful. I really appreciate the kiosk, with using the Marjorie Luke or the Lobero has one too.
Right.
I would just also, as you move along with that, maybe think about a little bit more decorative elements. One of my favorite elements at the Lobero, if you go over and look at it, there's this beautiful little seahorse that's on it. So you might be able to add some things on there as you move forward with that, just keep that in mind. But I think it's great. It's doing exactly what you are saying that you want to do, which is to make it very obvious that this is a theater and you have your advertising for the various events. So I think it's terrific. And then I guess just finally, I think that your colors are great. And so I give you very high marks, and I am very enthusiastically supportive and want you guys to move forward as quickly as possible so that we can enjoy it next February.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Thank
may
you.
I add something?
Yes, Commissioner
Despite
Jordan.
my colleagues' reticence on the color thing, it looks no way, that, as pictured, it looks no way subterranean, which is really wonderful. Because you never feel out, you wouldn't want to feel like you're all, so that opened up the light and the gold and the cream color and the
Right.
red is beautiful. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Butler.
I actually have a question. For the exterior poster cases, are you planning on lighting those?
So the cases themselves will not be inherently lit. They will not. They will be a dark bronze color. Very dark. That almost looks similar to wrought iron, that dark. But they won't be inherently lit themselves.
Okay, that's the answer.
Right, the poster itself, like where it has the movie sign itself, will be backlit. So that will be illuminated.
Oh, that's light. So the poster itself will be back. The reason what brought up the question was the column, and I'm thinking, my God, if we could get some electrics into the column and light that up as well, and then that's what made me ask the question about the other cases. So if you could, that was my question, so. I do have comments. Can I do that?
Yeah, rolling.
Okay. Yeah, this was great. I think you made it. The new glass guardrail solves all that. That's really terrific. The handrail design, the marquee lights. So those fit. They're not flush, right? The two star figurations. I mean, they are flush.
So they're flush mounted at the top, but to
Yeah,
your
but
point,
they still extend.
They'll extend down below.
that is correct,
Yeah,
yes.
but they should be okay. The other ones that you proposed last time were a bulb shape or something.
That's right, and they
That
were
looked like-
actually hanging. They're pendant.
Yeah. I think the intent was a good step, so good work.
Thank you.
Other comments?
Yes, I know you're moving fast with this project, and you've got to move fast, and it's, I understand that. My comments are more general in nature, and we go back to the entry. Yeah, right there. What makes that Santa Barbara when you walk into that space? Why isn't that Santa Maria or Bakersfield or whatever? I don't see Santa Barbara as I walk through that space. Unfortunately, and I'm not sure what you can do to solve that problem, but I just don't see it. The other thing is, we have been making an effort on State Street to make sure that the retail aspects of State Street are the windows that you look into and you see merchandise or whatever. And the three arches on the right side of the entry are being closed in, plastered, and the poster displays are being set into them. So you're walking down State Street, and if you expect something other than to edify yourself on movies, you're not going to find it there, because you have lost the windows, you've lost the awnings, and it's a relatively, I won't say cold, because there'll be a lot of activity or whatever in the displayed in the movie posters, but it's not where we have been trying to move Santa Barbara downtown, which is to make it really user-friendly from you walk by and you see something in the window. So it's a comment. You're not going to change that now. You're past that point. But And I hope that finally that you're able to take the time to make that corner column more decorative. You show us decorative elements as examples, but you're a long way from that with that corner column, and I think you can work on that. But what I don't see is I don't see Santa Barbara in this, in what we're creating here. And I think that's unfortunately. Santa Barbara Film Festival, and the architecture could be any place. It's not the Fox Arlington, it's not the Granada, which there's a lot of Santa Barbara character in those buildings, but we're past that point now. So those are just comments.
I'll make my comments. First of all, thank you for the work you've done. After the last presentation here, you got a list of comments. 16 was a long list, which was divided up into things, directives that we told you to do, requests to study some things, and suggestions. And you've addressed what we told you to do. You've studied what we've asked you to do. You've listened to our suggestions. So this has been a very good process, and I want to acknowledge that. I also want to acknowledge the improvement in the access for people who have physically some issues of mobility, because I think by opening that up and lightening it, you've made it the same entry sequence, the same. They feel like now they're part of the crowds flowing in and flowing out. That's the purpose of all this ADA stuff, is to erase those differences, and you've done that, so I want to thank you for that. I do hear Commissioner Lenvick's comments about, is it Santa Barbara? And the only comment that I'll make there is that the places that we think of as truly Santa Barbara, the Arlington and the Granada, were built originally to be what they are. This was a parking garage that had something stuck in it. And that goes back to something that we said originally, which was this was a very difficult challenge because of walking down into something celebratory. So I hear you, I even agree with you in parts, but I think that this has made real progress, and I am very supportive of it, and I think that we should move ahead with this. So any other comments, Commissioner Ensberg?
I just wanted to, thank you. Could we look at the exterior and what Commissioner Lenvick was talking about with the windows? I wasn't really sure I understood. Can we look at that elevation so that I can understand better what you're...
There's existing with glass on those three on the side and awnings overhead. There's a retail exposure there.
Those
are not, I don't think...
That's not actually, those are vision glass bays, but behind that is a solid wall.
Right.
Exactly.
So they're essentially...
Yep.
And that the other side of that wall is actually a theater.
Exactly.
So there's absolutely no opportunity to create a vision wall scenario.
No question, but they have taken what is a run of arched openings and made them appear to be part of a retail display. I understand what's behind, that only maybe a couple feet behind it is a solid wall.
Yeah.
But what we've got now is we've got plaster with the display cases set on the plaster.
Well, I guess, everybody has a different point of view, but to me, I don't find the existing to be very compelling or successful or attractive. And I think that what they have proposed here keeps the arches and puts these really beautiful wrought iron elements into them, which expands and connects very directly to the theater itself. So I find this to be very successful. And also how it extends over to the corner and the little kiosk. So I just make that argument that I think this is an improvement, and that it, really kind of encompasses and enlarges the whole film festival experience and building, if you will. So I find it to be very appropriate and interesting as you're walking down State Street to see this detail of the, I thought it was a wagon wheel too last time, you remember, but I guess that's because just of our Western culture. But, and I appreciate Commissioner Drury's comments that maybe you do study just the proportions of what the,
Yes,
what
we
actual
will.
real looks like. But I think it works. I think it works. So I very much support it, and I think it's an improvement to that building, which has always been a little bit of a, one that could use improvement. So, I appreciate it. I support it. And I do understand what Commissioner Lenvick, it's an important thing to think about.
I support it too.
Yeah.
They're under a lot of stress here to get this thing open. I support it. I'm simply saying, as a comment, that I think we have lost a little of the pedestrian feel on State Street, and I think that there could have been an opportunity to have more of Santa Barbara reflected in the entry passage area. But it's not. That's no big deal.
Okay, well, I just wanted to address this piece, and yeah, I think it's successful. So, there could be, you could take you could make the wainscot on the inside come up higher maybe, and have more tile there that would be, very typical of what we see. But I think you've hit it. So.
We'll know in February, won't we?
Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, a final comment. If you come to this commission regularly, you will always hear a variety of viewpoints. And I think the last time you were here, you got the advice to keep the columns, get rid of the columns, and add more columns. And you've handled that very well. I'm very supportive of this project, and not because of pressure from schedules, but because I think it is an improvement and it's worth supporting. And so at this point, if we don't have more comment or discussion, I'm listening for a motion, and knowing that we also have to make compatibility findings.
And Mr. Chair, if I may, again, so this project is scheduled today for project design approval, which have the project compatibility findings, as you noted, and then also it's also scheduled for final approval. There are a couple little details, so if those are...
Can the motion be for both project design approval and final approval in one motion?
That's correct. That is a possibility.
I will make that motion for design approval and final approval of the project as presented.
Second.
I'll second.
Commissioner Butler seconded it. Got there first to second.
And now you want me to read the...
Yes.
The long
Congratulations, you
list.
get to make the compatibility findings.
Gosh, I can't see it very well. Okay. Consistency with design guidelines. Yes, the project is consistent with design guidelines. Compatible with architectural character of the city and neighborhood. Yes. I don't think the third one is applicable.
Doesn't change.
Okay. Sensitivity to adjacent landmarks and historic resources. Yes. Number 5 is not applicable. And number 6, use of open space and landscaping, yes.
And that is all for the findings, but before we move on to a second, I just wanted to check in with the chair if there are any comments that you want to include. I didn't hear any conditions for the motion, but I know there were a variety of comments, so I just wanted to check if there were any that you wanted to include.
First comment is that the commission appreciates very much the effort you've put into this project and for working with us and considering our suggestions. I have additional suggestions, but they are only suggestions. They're not directives to do this. But I think that you've heard the suggestion to study the wagon wheel and make it more of a film reel. Suggestion, what else? What else did we want to say?
One suggestion was to consider the dark color above the, at the entry to match the lower, so that those two, just to study that and consider it if you think it's worthy.
And to continue to study the exterior kiosk column. That's it.
Is, Mr. Chair, is that in reference to a more decorative element to
More
that?
decorative elements for the exterior column/kiosk, and anything that could give it a more Santa Barbara character.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a seconder?
No, we're waiting on a second.
Commissioner Butler. do you want-
Second.
Okay,
All
sorry.
right, so apologies.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take roll call. Commissioner Jordan,
Yes.
Commissioner Drury,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
Commissioner Lundvik,
Yes.
and Commissioner McClure.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good
Thank
job.
you all very
Great
much.
job.
I think you have 10 days to appeal this if you don't.
Oh, so many.
You won't be hearing from us.
You had fun. You had fun doing it.
Always, always, always.
Thank you so much.
I
Thank
think
you
that's
both
the
very much.
business of
Thank
the
you all.
day. Thank you all.
Roger says he's happy.
Good.